a major step forward in the historic impeachment trial of Donald Trump after the Senate received the article of impeachment against the former president just yesterday. The Democratic led House, along with 10 Republicans, voted to charge Mr. Trump with incitement of insurrection, claiming his dangerous rhetoric led to the deadly assault on the Capitol earlier this month. Naomi Ruchim is following the very latest. Naomi, the National Guard is still in Washington, and there are plans that the trial should begin shortly, and I presume the National Guard will be staying there for that time as well.
Right, Anne-Marie, it's hard to forget those images from President Biden's inauguration. 25,000 National Guard troops, all from across the country, came there to protect the proceedings. Well, still to this day, there are about 13,000 troops there after there were some threats to specific congressmen and women, and also the potential for more violent protests. Now they're saying some of them will remain throughout this impeachment trial, including up to 5,000 by mid-March.
House managers delivered an article of impeachment against former President Trump to the Senate for a historic second time.
Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States.
Lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin read the article accusing Mr. Trump of inciting the Capitol riot.
He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as,
"And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore."
The article of impeachment also notes the former president's rhetoric leading up to January 6th.
They're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a co-equal branch of government.
President Biden told CNN off camera that he doesn't think there are enough Republican votes needed to convict, but the trial has to happen.
First of all, I think the trial is stupid. I think it's counterproductive.
Democrats say Mr. Trump must be held accountable.
The theory that the Senate can't try former officials would amount to a constitutional get-out-of-jail-free card for any president.
The trial will begin the week of February 8th. Unlike last year's trial, Chief Justice John Roberts will not preside. That duty now falls to the Senate pro tempore, Democrat Patrick Leahy.
And 17 Republican votes, at least, would be needed in order to convict the former president. That is unlikely, as you heard. Even President Biden believes that. And if that happens, there would then be another vote to decide if they would prohibit former President Trump from serving in office ever again. There's still, Anne-Marie, discussion over whether or not this impeachment trial is even allowed in the first place based on the Constitution. As you can imagine, that discussion falls along party lines. Anne-Marie?
Yeah, no surprise there. So, Naomi, then what happens in terms of the impeachment? What happens today?
Well, today the senators will all be sworn in as members of the impeachment court. And from there, each side, so those impeachment managers, the House Democrats, and then former President Trump's defense team, they will have time to prepare their briefs, getting ready for that trial the week of February 8th.
And there was another major development out of the Senate yesterday. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says that he's no longer pushing for Democrats to keep the Senate filibuster. That's pretty good news. They are moving towards finding, a power-sharing agreement. Why is he backing off of the filibuster?
Right, some common ground here. This has been really a nasty stalemate between the two sides, especially because of how close it is in the Senate, just 50 on each side, plus the vice president, which would swing it towards the Democrats. But McConnell is now saying he has a handful of Democrats who say they will not allow for this rule change, and that would keep the filibuster in place, so he no longer needs to fight for it. This is music to Chuck Schumer's ears because he wants to move forward with the ability to do that if necessary. And so we'll see if this power sharing agreement really is just that, or if this continues to be a push for a filibuster. Either way, though, at least some sign of decency and common ground in Washington. Anne-Marie?
So true. I'll take anything. Thank you very much, Naomi. So you can watch full live coverage of the senators getting sworn in ahead of the impeachment trial. That's going to happen later on today right here on CBSN. It is expected to start around 1 p.m. Eastern.